All right, today I'm going to be ranking all of the Jurassic Park movies. With the recent release of Jurassic World Rebirth, I think it is. I figured I would just, rank all of these movies in this iconic franchise because it's gotten up there in the the amount of releases that they have, especially in the past like 10 years. I mean, they've been banging them out. And we'll see if that's for better or for worse. We'll get into that. But yeah, I just want to start this out by saying it is my opinion. So if you guys disagree, I'm not trying to say this is like fact, obviously. It's just my ranking on the movies. So if you disagree, let me know what your ranking is below, or if if you agree, let me know why, or I'm happy to hear people's opinions, and as long as it's not, super hateful, I mean, there's always a place for that. So we'll get into it right now, though. We'll start out going from worst to best because, you got to save the best for last. And for me personally, the worst Jurassic Park / World, whatever, movie is Jurassic World Dominion in 2022. I just, I have a lot of problems with this one. I feel like it was built up so much, like the hype was something they were trying to build on, like the Infinity War level of like Jurassic Park movies, getting all the original cast members back, like Sam Neill, Jeff Goldblum, and Laura Dern. And on paper that sounds so cool, but it kind of all fades when I tell you that they were underutilized, written to be nothing like their original characters in the original movies. And they were just super, like, kind of put on the back burner, in my opinion, especially compared to the newer characters, which, the newer ones aren't even that bad, but by the time this movie came around, I'm just done with them, honestly. And the whole storyline also that was, like, involved in this movie with, like, the locusts, I mean, that was a big, like, I think everybody agrees that was, like, the biggest, what the hell. But then, aside from just the locusts, you also had the whole cloning storyline, which started with the first Jurassic World, and it started strong, and then by the second one, it kind of went off the rails, and by this one, it was, for me, it was just, like, kind of dead in the water. And I really dislike the, speaking of cloning, I really, really dislike the whole, like, monster element that has turned into these movies, whereas, like, instead of the actual dinosaurs that existed in real life being the main threat, we have to make an even bigger threat, make it a mutant hybrid. Like, they just always have to go bigger. And on paper, that sounds like a good idea, right? That sounds like it makes sense, but you don't always have to go bigger. As long as it's done well and done right, it could still be, like, possibly better than the last one. And I go to these movies to see dinosaurs. Me personally, I don't go to see mutants. And while some of them are cool, that doesn't mean I want to see them. So yeah, this one is last for me for that reason. I just feel like out of all the world movies, especially, it is, by far the weakest. So that's why it's going to be there for me. Next up, slightly above that one, is going to be The Lost World, the sequel to Jurassic Park. And this one's kind of surprising to me because just how much it had behind it. Jeff Goldblum's character returning, and it was directed by Steven Spielberg. So, the pattern with this franchise is, like, a lot of these movies on paper sound like they should be a lot better than they are, and better than they are executed for sure. But this one, I've never really liked it at all. Even as a kid, I never really found much I liked about this, aside from the ending scene with the T-Rex in San Francisco. That was cool because it was, like, the first time they did something like that, where it's like, wow, dinosaurs are in our world. Like, they're not on some remote island in Hawaii. They are in San Francisco right now. So that was pretty cool. I like that element. But I just think it was, like, it was a weak movie. I mean, Jeff Goldblum has a daughter all of a sudden, and she defeats raptors by doing gymnastics. There's just a lot of, like, weird stuff in this movie, and nothing that is really, like, memorable to me. Whereas, like, even with Dominion, it had more memorable, like, scenes, I think. but then again, it's more recent, and also it's just a worse movie overall. But this one is a close second to that because it's not memorable. I feel like the characters, I didn't really care about any of them. Even Jeff Goldblum's, I mean, I thought, they would take it in a different direction, and I just didn't really care. So yeah, aside from some cool visuals, like obviously with Spielberg making the movie, aside from a few cool visuals and some, like one cool scene that I remember liking, that's really all this movie has to offer. So that's why it's in this spot for me personally. Next up, I'm going to be putting Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, which is the sequel to Jurassic World, the one right before Dominion. And I don't know, I just wasn't really big on this one. With the whole like follow-up to Jurassic World, you'll find out I like that movie a lot more than this one. And I just thought it was kind of underwhelming, especially like I mentioned before, with the whole cloning storyline with this girl that is a clone of one of the original park owners' like daughters. It's really convoluted and like weird, and it's kind of it might sound stupid for me to say this, but with Jurassic Park, I don't really look at them as sci-fi as much as I know they are sci-fi. I don't really look at them like that because they're dinosaurs, so in my head they actually existed, so it should be slightly more like grounded in reality, as ridiculous as that may sound when talking about a Jurassic Park movie. But the cloning was just a bit too much for me. It's like I'm one of those people, I don't really go into a movie expecting much. Like, I don't always expect for a movie to change my life. I just don't think that's rational or like reasonable to expect that, especially with certain kinds of movies. But even with this, with those expectations, I just didn't really find myself liking it. And I really tried to, because I love Jurassic World and I love the characters. And Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard are like really, they're still good in this, but like I don't really care about their relationship. I don't know if that's like a hot take, but I've never really cared about their relationship in any of these three movies, besides like maybe the first, maybe. So yeah, I mean, like, I don't know. Their relationship is just kind of weird and off kilter, so I don't really like it. Not to mention tonally, this one's like really weird because it gets like really dark and depressing, and then they have a lot of like comedic relief. So yeah, it's just kind of weird overall. Like, it's a really weird movie. So I'm gonna put it here because it's definitely not like one of the worst, or it's not like the bottom two, but it's definitely not my favorite, I'd say. So next up, I'm gonna have to put. Now this next spot was tough because the movies we got left are Jurassic World Rebirth, which just came out, Jurassic World from 2015, Jurassic Park 3 from 2001, and Jurassic Park 1993. So with these, I like all of these, but so like it's gonna get like really heavy into my opinion here, whereas the other ones are more so like almost indisputable facts, where it's like, yeah, they are bad for these reasons. And some people may be surprised to know Jurassic Park 3 is one that I think is actually good, but I'll get to why I think that is. But yeah, next up, I'm going to have to put Rebirth, Jurassic World Rebirth, the newer one that just came out with Scarlett Johansson and Mahershala Ali. Mainly because I don't want to just have recency bias. I know that is a thing, especially with me. If you've seen another video, I talk about how like I always used to get made fun of for just like kind of liking almost everything I saw when I would go to the movies. And I'm trying to not have such recency bias on this, but I don't really get the hate that this movie's been receiving. I mean, sure, they go the mutant route still with the dinosaur, which I hate. I really do hate that part of it, which is honestly the main reason why it's this low. But other than that, I mean, I think it's a fine Jurassic Park movie. I think it's like a little bit of return to form. I think the name and the title and stuff and like the kind of marketing they did was a little bit misleading, because you think of Rebirth and you think, oh, well, we're starting fresh. Maybe we'll get something new. It's not really anything fresh or super new. It's a continuation in the same world as the Jurassic World movies, obviously, hence the title Jurassic World Rebirth. But other than that, I mean, it's like it's just kind of, basic, but basic isn't always bad. I mean, sure, the characters aren't anything to write home about. I couldn't really tell you anything about them, but I really liked the message it had, because, I've heard some people say, like, it doesn't care about the dinosaurs anymore, but this movie debatably cares about them the most. Like, throughout the movie, there's a character that keeps giving reasons, like, why, life is valuable, and, like, why their lives are valuable, the dinosaurs, that is, and why, like, humans kind of really shit the bed, because, I mean, they're beautiful creatures who deserve to live in their natural habitats and be unbothered. I mean, they don't need humans poking and prodding them, and he really seems to just value nature and the nature of these dinosaurs a lot, which I really like. And he even makes Scarlett Johansson come around to it, who starts off as, like, really rough around the edges and, like, not really giving a shit because she just wants money, which is understandable to a degree. But it's nice to see that she did eventually come around to the idea that, he's right. There's more to these animals, and they're beautiful creatures who should be respected. And that's where I got confused. People said, like, they don't really respect the fact that it's a dinosaur movie, but this one seems like more about the dinosaurs than any in the past, in the recent years, even including Jurassic World, because in that one, obviously that's what started all the cloning craze. So this one has the cloning, but I just feel like the dinosaurs are more of a focal point. And it has some really cool scenes, like the river raft scene with the T-Rex. I've seen some criticisms for that. I don't really get it because I liked it. Maybe that's just me personally, but I did enjoy it. So yeah, I think it was done really well, and I think there was a lot of, like, good standout action scenes in this, where it's like, if I were to rewatch this might go up on my list over time, especially because, like, you give it time to simmer, and you might just, like, forget about how good some of the stuff was. So yeah, I think it's at a fair spot here. I think it's probably going to grow higher on my list, to be honest, but for now, I guess I'll put it, like, right here. So next up, I'm going to have to put Jurassic Park 3 from 2001 here, because this movie is very controversial amongst Jurassic Park fans. I wouldn't consider myself a Jurassic Park mega fan, but I do like me a Jurassic Park movie. And this one has everything I want. I mean, it's entertaining. The dinosaur action is awesome. You get returning character in Alan Grant and Ellie Sattler, even though Ellie is, like, heavily in the background. Alan Grant's throughout the movie. And honestly, if you know the backstory of this movie, and all the reshoots they had, and the fact that they didn't even have a working script by the time they started filming, all of that considered, it's such a better movie than it deserves to be, or has any right to be, because essentially they didn't even have a finished movie when they started. So really, it should be a lot worse than it is. And I think it delivers on the dinosaur action. There's multiple scenes, like the pterodactyl scene. When I was a kid, that stuck with me for so long. I was, like, permanently scarred from that scene. The Spinosaurus scene, like, and I say scene, but I mean all the scenes with the Spinosaurus, like the phone in his belly, is iconic with that ringtone. Hearing that. I mean, your first time watching, you don't know what it is, but then rewatching every time, you know what's about to go off. So it's really cool seeing that. And it kind of, like, to me, it's iconic. I just feel like a lot of people don't really appreciate this movie for what it did. But yeah, a lot of the dinosaur scenes were awesome. I do think some of the characters were, like, insufferable, or, like, just not likable, like the wife and the Alan's assistant guy. Although he kind of redeems himself a little bit, but it's a little bit iffy for me. But yeah, I mean, this isn't a perfect movie, but I personally think it's better than the movies that I listed before it. So I think it rightfully earned its spot here for a lot of stuff it did well, even though it does a lot wrong. Now moving on to my top two, both of these movies are really great in my opinion, and honestly, before I list them, I feel like nobody talks about how well of a, like, legacy sequel Jurassic World is. I mean, it's hard to really pinpoint, like, who started the whole legacy sequel thing, but Jurassic World, I feel like, was the first one from my memory to do it this well and get it right. And I think it, like, it had a domino effect because now everybody's doing legacy sequels or seek boots or requels or whatever you want to call them, where it's like kind of a reboot but not really. Like it takes place in the same universe most likely, or it does outright. So I thought that was really cool. And I guess I'll just get right into it. Jurassic World is my number 2. Obviously nothing's going to beat the first, but Jurassic World is honestly iconic. When this came out, I was a teenager in high school, and I didn't really have high expectations because, like I said, I've never really been a huge Jurassic Park super fan. So I've never I shouldn't say that. Jurassic Park is one of my favorite movies of all time, but the franchise I've never really been a super fan of. So when it was coming out and they announced Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard, I was like, okay, well, I mean, obviously I'll see it, but I don't know, it's probably not going to be great. And I think that was most people's reaction, but it actually turned out really good. I liked it a lot. I liked the characters of, Chris Pratt's and Bryce Dallas Howard's, and I like the aesthetics of everything. I mean, if you've been to Universal Studios Orlando, the Jurassic World ride, the Velocicoaster, I mean, when you go through that, just feeling like you're in this world, it's so cool because the set design is so good in this, and it's so it's newer, it's updated, but it's also kind of reminiscent of the past. And I just really like it. There's a lot of fun callbacks to past movies, and a lot of homage and respect paid to the original and originals. So it's really cool to see that, but also to see how things could have gone had the first movie gone differently. This park is working. It's open. It's been open to the public so long that they have to start doing those mutant experiments that I mentioned before that I just so happen to hate. So yeah, I mean, it's cool to see it's almost like a what if, even though stuff still goes to shit by the end of the movie, obviously. I think of it as kind of like a what if, is whoa. So I mean, this is what it would have been had it been a functioning theme park, had everything gone according to plan. I'm not gonna lie, pretty cool. Would I go? Yeah, probably. Would I feel terrible? Yeah, probably. I mean, I don't go to zoos or aquariums because I feel they're super cruel, but who wouldn't go see a dinosaur in person? I mean, come on. You're lying to yourself if you say you wouldn't. I know it. I mean, it's too cool to pass up. Once in a lifetime, man. And we might get there with, the way science is going nowadays, as long as we don't wipe ourselves out with AI first. But that's a whole other, that's another tangent. Anyways, yeah, Jurassic World is my number 2. I think it's iconic for a new age. I think it does pretty much everything right. It's just unfortunate that the movie, that's above this is the one that's above it. So yeah, my number 1 is Jurassic Park. Obviously, I mean, there's not really much I could say about this that people have not already said and that you probably don't already know. It's iconic. Steven Spielberg is a genius, in my opinion, one of my favorite directors, because he has a lot of my favorite movies. And this is another example of that. I know when it came out, it was all the craze in the 90s because it was so well done. And honestly, to this day, the effects hold up so well that I think it's better than some of the Jurassic World movies that we've gotten with the CGI. It's just so good. The story, the characters are all likable. Well, obviously the ones that are supposed to be. You got to have the dickhead in there so he can get eaten at the end. But yeah, all the characters are likable. I think it's just a really well done movie, and really there's nothing more to say about it. I mean, I always tell my wife and friends there's certain movies that are just movies, and by that I mean the things that pop into my head are Jurassic Park, E.T., Jaws, Back to the Future. To me, when I think of a movie, that's what I think of. I can't really explain it other than that. It's just a vibe or a feeling that movies give me, where it's see, that is if I had to explain to an alien, give them the best of us and in each category, and it came to movies, I'd give them one of those, because it's just this is a movie. This is the movie of all movies. So I think, yeah, Jurassic Park, iconic, easily in my top 5, if not top 3 movies of all time. So yeah, I think it's It's obviously number one on this list for reasons that cannot be disputed and frankly should not be disputed. But if you want to dispute them, feel free to do so in the comments below. That is my Jurassic Park list. Now, like I said, if you agree, I appreciate it. If you disagree, it's even better, because maybe I'll get an opinion or shed some new light on a movie that I never really had or would have had. So I appreciate all responses. I hope you enjoyed what I had to say about the movies. I hope I articulated myself well enough, because this was another, non-scripted video. I just kind of wanted to talk about it off the cuff, because like I said, I saw the new one. I really liked it for what it was. So I wanted to kind of rank these, because I love ranking things. I guess it's I don't really know how to explain it other than that. I just like putting things in order that I see fit. So yeah, if you want to, leave your ranking in the comments below, and I'll rate your ranking, and we'll go from there. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Until next time, thanks.